Welcome, welcome, everybody. We are so glad that you're here today. We have an awesome round of folks here that are going to talk about some deals that have recently been brought into fruition. So these deals are getting done every single day, and we are having this live Q&A here for you today so that you can kind of find out how these deals get done, who are the people that you're working with in order to get these deals done, and kind of learn a little bit more about the sub 2 top tier TC and Gator community. So if you all listening are so brave to interact with me in the chat, I will be providing information there on Facebook and on YouTube. So again, welcome everyone, and I will let Kathy take it away and start asking some of the cool and fun questions that we have for you today.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Very, very happy everybody's here. Quick intro. My name is Kathy Craig. I am a Gator Elite. Been part of this amazing community for about a year and a half. I also am one of the leaders in the Ventura County JV group in Southern California. Serial entrepreneur, and my day job is I actually am the executive director of a nonprofit in Southern California. So want to thank Taya and, Alex and the whole Pace Morby Media team, because without them, we would all be lost because they are just rock stars. And, I love these interviews because look at me, here I am with three men today. This is fantastic. This is a great way to start the new year. So we'll just kind of let you guys introduce yourself. Colin, we'll start with you, and then, we'll kind of loop around.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. So I am Colin Yeap. I started off as a Gator in 2023, in August 2023. So I've been in the community for about a year and a half. I joined Sub 2 and Owners Club later on. I have been doing quite a lot of deals as a Gator, as a private money lender, and also in Sub 2. And that's where I met my partner, Benjamin Huang, who is now doing business buying. And now we're in a couple of businesses together.
Great. Thank you. Stephen, it's all yours, my man.
Hey, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Stephen Haring. I am a Northeast Sub 2 leader here in the Pocono Mountains, Pennsylvania. I have two companies, manifestinvestors.com, which is a flipping and wholesaling business where I am a buyer in Northeast Pennsylvania, as well as the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania area. And then I'm also the co-founder of hungrydispo.com, which is a disposition service that helps real estate professionals buy, sell, and fund real estate investment deals with either EMD funding or transactional lending. So I've been a Sub 2 member for a couple years now, and I'm actually a partner with Justin Tumanowski, who's one of the official Sub 2 coaches, and just want to give a shout out to Justin for giving me an opportunity to be a guest on this podcast.
I love me some Justin. He's a great guy. And Ben, do you prefer Ben or Benjamin? Do you have?
I go by Benjamin.
Okay, great. I want to ask. Thank you.
So happy New Year, everybody, and I appreciate the time being here. I have been doing real estate for about 10 plus years. Creatively started probably the past 3 years. Since then, I have done I started actually with multifamily. I once acquired a 80-door apartment complex in Dallas, Texas. And after that, I dive into business buying, of course, creative business buying. Last year, we acquired 3 business just in the first 2 months of the year. And the third month, we had another 3 business ready to close, all creative. We didn't end up closing it, but we learned about operation and what we need to get better and improve before we move on. But I'm so grateful that I can work with great people in this community. I was able to meet Colin. He's my best operator, and thanks to him, we get to do a lot of great things. Again, thanks for your time and opportunity, Kathy.
I love it. I love it. So before we start digging into the meat of your deals, because I really am excited to hear about your your creative purchase and your laundromat. But what were you guys doing before you got into this community? So Benjamin, we'll go kind of in reverse. What were you doing prior to joining this amazing world?
So my first career, I actually was a engineer and scientist. I work on the last pandemic, which is Ebola virus. So I was doing a lot of science cool stuff, and then I realized that none of them will contribute to wealth building. That's when I dive into real estate, and that's also when I started to acquire single family and turn it into a early version of co-living initially. And then I realized to scale I need to do like multi families. So before I know it, I was working with a group of partners and getting into large multi-family properties. And shortly after I joined sub 2, and then learned that so much that I can do to explore just with the great people in the community.
I love this. Stephen, what's your background?
Yeah, so I've been a full-time real estate investor for about 3 years now. Actually, March of this year would make it officially 3 years. And before I got into real estate, I worked for a digital marketing and web development company. It was a billion-dollar company. Did quite well for myself as a business consultant, part of a President's Club award winner, but I was just completely miserable and I felt trapped in the corporate rat race. And so I ended up leaving that position to chase my dream as a full-time entrepreneur. And I was actually scrolling on Instagram one day, and I remember finding a video about wholesaling, and I'm like, man, this can't be legal, right? It looked like a scam at first, and it was really intriguing to me because I really wanted to get into real estate investing, but you usually hear the traditional like barriers of entry, like you got to have your real estate license, you got to have a lot of capital to get started in real estate, right? You got to know everything from A to Z as far as the title process, right? They give you these barriers of entry to make you feel like you can't get into space. And as soon as I learned wholesaling, I was like, wow, I could actually learn this. And so I ended up joining a 3-day workshop with a company called Real Advisors, where I learned how to wholesale from A to Z. And, I took off from there, started doing a good amount of wholesale deals. And then I joined Sub 2 a few years back, because I heard about this movement that was growing rapidly. And I kept hearing Pace's name, inside my investor circles. And I'm like, man, creative financing, this sounds really interesting. And this is before the interest rates went up, right? Like, so we still had the prime, like 3% interest rates at the time. And I was like, you know what, let me get on this right now. I saw the need for it and I was really intrigued by it. I ended up joining Sub 2 and the rest is history.
I love it. Great story. Colin?
Yeah. So prior to this, if not still doing it, actually, I am a quality director for a pharmaceutical company. So I've been in the pharmaceutical company in the industry for about 20 years. And so that's all I know. I started off as a chemical engineer and been doing that since, still doing it. But how I got started was really, I'm the only one in the family that's, making the income. So I kind of figured out, hey, if something did happen to me, I needed something more passive, right? And that's kind of got me started into the video watching, the education, and then I stumbled upon Pace and his book, and that's kind of how I started going to real estate just from the lending side, because it was pretty hectic in my day job, as you can imagine. And then I just wanted to do some passive income, and that's what I started doing, lending, and then started doing some buying, and then started doing some connecting. So I started, I pivoted from a lender to a buyer to a capital raiser. Now that I'm raising capital with my other partner, and we're raising capital for a bunch of creative buying investors, and then that's how I kind of moved. Now not pivoting, but taking additional roles and branching out and expanding into the business side. And that's where, Benjamin and I kind of connected in that space.
I love this. I mean, this community clearly shows us all that it's limitless. I mean, you can do and be anything you want to be, regardless of your background, because everybody has very diverse backgrounds, which is fantastic. I have a commercial construction background, which comes in very handy in this community. And I just love it. Good. That's fantastic. So let's hear about your little deal that you and Benjamin have, because it's a cool story. I do confess I watched the video that you did, Benjamin. It was really, really cool. I love everything about it. So can you guys share with us about the business buying and how that worked and how the community supported you or helped you in this?
Sure. Colin, I'll just take on and be free to jump in. So it's all started, in 2023 when I decided to move up to Boston. I previously lived in Delaware, and that's when I have already looked into business buying and understanding how business work and all that. After about 1 year of study, I wanted to start buying business, and I moved myself to Boston because Boston is a market that has a lot of opportunity and strong economic momentum and such. This is where I want to build my empire. So when I just moved up here, I was like, okay, I am very new here and I'm trying to make friends with people in the community. What is the best way to make friends? And then I realized, why don't I just share my best deal of the year to the community? So back then I was, engaged with this laundromat deal, and then I just opened up to the New England sub-2 community, and I basically just talk about the deals in our weekly, accountability call, and start to chat with the people, and we're able to take it down together with sub-2 communities, especially New England people. So super grateful, and so that's how it started. We initially wanted to just buy a laundromat, but when I realized that's the best deal of the year, and I just cannot just take it all myself because I want to make friends, and obviously that's a good choice. I was able to make a lot of friends, including Colin.
Absolutely. And you want to share the impact that you're making on the seller's family and the son, because that is very indicative of this community, that we're go-givers and that we want to support and help people. So doing a deal is one thing, but what you're doing in that deal is pretty special.
Yeah. It all go back to the bunny story that Pace talked about. We're all in the community, and if you haven't heard about the bunny story, you need to go into a vault and listen to it.
Yes.
Essentially, the reason why we're doing deals creatively is because we're providing massive value to the seller, and in seller's eyes, they see it as a massive value, right? So for this laundromat deals, initially I was just buying the business just like others, right? And we were once getting to a agreement, and we were going to buy at the price, and half of it was going to be seller finance, the other half of it was going to be the money from the capital partners. But toward the end, I have been going through the training and also transitions. I work alongside with the seller, and the seller was actually at the age of like my mom's, and the seller was like, "Benjamin, why are you even here?" And I was like, "Because I want to learn about the business and buy the business." And she was like, "Okay, you're here, but my son is not here, and he's actually in the house and in the basement. He wasn't going to be doing some big thing." And I was just telling her that, well, you know what? Be free to give away my phone number to your son. And I ended up getting into a series of call, and actually have a few conversations with the seller's son. closer to the closing date, we learned that the seller's son was started to apply for job, and the day at the closing date, the son was actually going out to do a few on-site interview. So we're very excited about that. And throughout that conversation, it was like, hey, what would you like? Basically, this is a conversation between myself and the seller, and I was asking her, how would that mean to you if you're able to see your son going on and actually explore the world, do some cool thing? And she was like, that would mean millions to me.
Mm.
And I was like, awesome. Then let's have that conversation. And toward the end, at the closing table, the seller just decided to basically cancel the seller finance or consider that paid. So essentially, we're able to get like a very good price, which is at a 50% discount. So that proved how powerful it is when you provide massive value to the seller. And of course, values means differently to different people, right?
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Colin, you want to chime in, maybe numbers, because business buying is the next massive wave because of the baby boomers, and a lot of them don't have legacy, family members to leave business to. So you're kind of, you're getting everybody all excited about what the future is, and how you did this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think from a numbers perspective, I'm gonna let Benjamin kind of share that,
Okay.
open to sharing that. But I think it's really critical, right, that you build that relationship. If you're going, I mean, Benjamin didn't just go in there and say, "Hey, can I buy your business?"
Right.
If anybody have watched his videos, he actually went in there to do his dirty laundry to start, right, and be a customer just to kind of build that relationship before you actually make an offer, right, and find out how you can provide value, how do you solve someone's problem, and that's kind of what drives the conversation and start the relationship into getting a deal.
Yeah, it's really about relationship building. You can't just walk in and go, "Hey, I want this, you got this. Okay, I'm out, let's go." These businesses have been in families for years and generations, and it's so important to respect that and to honor that by, coming in. And that's what this community does, because that's how all of our mindsets are.
Yeah.
So
And
love.
a lot of time the sellers are actually, not in need of money because they have a successful business. They're not short of cash. All they care about is they need to retire and they want to see their business continue to grow. The legacy is being, amplified.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you guys for sharing. Really, I appreciate that. And Stephen, tell us about your deal. And I did, watch your interview with Justin, and you connect with people. You have such empathy and such kindness that you really make people feel heard and seen and valued. And that is so significant. And people could learn a lot from you and how you do that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So I actually was thinking about it while I was listening to Ben talk, and I'm like, wow, this year is actually gonna be my fourth year as a full-time real estate investor, and like time flies. But yes, as far as my story, you know, Justin Tumanowski and I own, multiple properties with each other, and the second deal that I'm going to talk about is actually an extension of the first deal in a way because Justin and I had closed on a property here in the Pocono Mountains that we are turning into a short-term rental. And after we had closed on our first deal together, I get a call from my property scout, and he tells me, "Hey, listen, I have a wholesale deal that I think you can buy. The property is in good condition, and it's in the same exact neighborhood as the first deal that Justin and I had finished closing." So I remember looking at Justin, and we're together at our first deal, and I remember telling Justin like, "Hey, I got another deal for us." And Justin's like, "Wait," he's like, "Pump your brakes, bro. We just literally we just did the first deal." But I'm like, "Listen, like these numbers they don't seem too bad, right? The wholesale asking price was too high, but I had discovered the motivation in which why the seller was looking to sell, and it was because the seller had over 20 grand in arrears, and the foreclosure was coming up, within the next 90 days at the time. And so I tell Justin, I say, hey, listen, you're here now in the neighborhood, all the way from New Hampshire. Let's hop in the car. Let's drive literally 5 minutes away. It was literally like less than, a mile or two away from our first deal. And let's check out the property. And so we ended up visiting the property and we met the seller, and the seller was in financial and medical distress. And, he was very weary of talking to us when we were inside of his home. He really had his guard up, and I could tell that he thought we were trying to take advantage of his situation. And looking at the numbers of the asking price as a traditional cash wholesale deal, the numbers wouldn't have worked, right? The only way we could possibly make this deal work is to do a creative deal by taking over the existing loan via subject to, and giving the seller some cash to walk away.
Mm-hmm. You had a good interest rate on that too?
Yeah, the interest rate was 4%, and the PITI was $1,000. The principal balance at the time was 180,000, and the ARV on that property at the time was around 240. Right. So when we bought the property, we immediately had some equity in the deal, and we took over the existing loan with the interest rate that we couldn't have gotten in the market at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that property was, when we did our initial short-term rental revenue projections annually, it came out to around 80 grand. Right. So the numbers looked really, really appealing. Now there was an issue. The seller didn't trust any investor that he was working with. He was hurt that he was going to lose his property, right? He had an emotional attachment to the property. And so we needed to break his guard down. We need to help bring his guard down. And I remember when we initially signed a contract with the seller ghosted us. We couldn't get a hold of the seller. We tried calling, we tried emailing, I tried knocking on his door. He wouldn't talk to us. And so I remember visiting his property again and knocking on the door, and he finally answered. I was like, hey, listen, can you just let me in so we can talk? Because I'm trying to save the deal. I'm like, this guy clearly, he doesn't, he's just emotionally distressed and financially distressed, and he's got his medical issues. And remember sitting down with him in his kitchen. I remember telling him, like, hey, listen, I understand the pain you're going through, because when I was a kid, I watched my mom be in and out of the hospital, consistently as a kid. That put us behind bills, and eventually, my parents lost my childhood home in foreclosure, right? And I understand the situation that you're in. And what really hurts me the most to this day is that I didn't have the knowledge or the capability, because of my age at the time and watching my family lose our home, to actually help my parents in that situation. And I remember telling the seller that, and he looked at me and he was like, wow. He's like, so you get it, you understand. And I remember telling him, I said, listen, we genuinely want to help you. And obviously we're businessmen, right? And we do want to take this property over. And obviously there's business associated with it. But based on your time frame of needing to sell this property and some of the work that's needed in the property, we're your best option for you to be able to walk away with some cash and not lose the property for nothing.
Yeah.
And that was that ultimately saved the deal. And a couple times I remember just picking up the seller, bringing him to like driving him around town, giving him cash so he can buy groceries. There was just so many things that I did from a humane perspective that I'm not too sure any other investor was willing to do, but I understood the condition and the situation that he was in. And so I led with empathy. And that ultimately, I earned his trust and I was able to get that deal done.
Yeah. And you helped him in the long run, in the short run, being relatable and empathetic and just kind. You're showing him something that he probably hasn't had in a long time. And that's just grace and kindness. And he needed it for sure.
And so the other thing I really want to talk about too is just the power of community, because that was the second property that Justin and I took down as partners, and we have other partners too.
Mm-hmm.
And the first deal that Justin and I took down, it was a massive renovation project. And at the time, I had no renovation experience. I always joke with my wife, like, I'm like the anti-handyman, right? Like, I got to order like a task rabbit or someone to come to the house to put something together, because that's just not my expertise. My expertise is on the marketing and sales side. And so I remember needing help in navigating the first deal, and I got on the newbie Zoom call with Caroline Kane, and she's like, "Hey, I know this guy that I think can help you. His name is Justin Tumanowski." And I remember calling Justin, and Justin hopped on a call with me. We ran through the numbers, and the rest is history. But I really want to emphasize the power of community and really being self-aware of your limitations in this business, because it's not the how, it's the who, right? Like at that time, I didn't have the renovation experience to be able to take over this massive project. If you were to see this property, it's huge. It's got like 3 decks, like 2 kitchens. Yeah, it's a really big project. And at one point, I think the rumor was that former New York Yankee players, they used to party in this house, right? But I knew I didn't have that experience, and I reached out to Justin, and he helped take that first deal over, across the finish line for us.
And good for you, because I am too old not to admit my inadequacies at this point in my life. Like I know where I'm not good. And, I spent many years in commercial construction. So you should send me the pictures of the house, because I'm a total like architectural nerd. But I mean, I love that. My dad used to call, a plumber to change a light bulb, not the this guy around, but he was able to run a very successful business. So good on you.
It's crazy now, because fast forward to today, like I have construction experience now, managing like full gut renovations. And so now I have that experience to be able to go into future projects, but it's really important to understand your limitations and not want to try to do everything on your own, especially if you don't have any previous experience, right? Because the real estate game could be a very costly. It could be very costly if you make mistakes, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And so power of community, reach out to members who have a specific avatar or areas of expertise that you don't have knowledge in, and learn from those individuals. There's so many go-givers like Justin, and I can name countless other leaders, right? And now as I'm growing within this space, I'm trying to do the same thing that Justin did for me to other people within the Sub2 community as well. I think it's important to take that go-giver attitude and really give back.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it beautifully. So Colin and Benjamin, talk about the community and how the community helped you. Were your partners, part of the community, and for people watching online, please go and watch Pace's Avatar series on YouTube. It is amazing. It is eye-opening. It is like that aha moment where you can really drill down to you as a human and who you are. So and where you might fit in the real estate space. So I would encourage you guys to please go watch that.
Yeah,
So,
I 100% agree. I mean, with Steve, right? So, because the power of the community is so important. I mean, if you look at my journey here, I had no real estate experience pre 2023, right? And right now, up to date, I think I've done about 95 deals in the last year and a half, right? And it's just learning from people. I mean, my first ever deal was with someone in the New England area, one of the leaders in Massachusetts, Jonathan Santiago, right? And I did the deal with him, and he walked me through the entire process, right? I lent him some money, watched his project unfold, and we did a deal together. And then since then, every single one of my deals have been with somebody in the community, right? And they have taught me everything. Like, I had no idea how to lend. I had no idea how to own a real estate property other than my own house, right? But now I've got a midterm rental with Benjamin. We've got a long-term rental. We got a couple of long-term rentals. We got a business. I got a lending business, a capital raising business. And all of that was knowledge and learning, just learning from people, learning from people's mistakes, right? And applying them going forward so that you don't make the same mistakes as other people, right? But that is so key because it saves your learning. If you think that you need a ton of time to learn about real estate, you don't, because you can fast track your learning just by partnering with people, right? You don't have to go start from the very beginning.
Exactly.
You need to just leverage other people
true.
to learn from the mistakes and apply and level up.
That's very true. We don't need a lot of friends. We just need the right friends, and they're all in this community.
I resonate with that so much.
Yeah. I agree.
Go on, Steve.
No, I was gonna say, one of the things that I would recommend, especially when you're networking with people within Sub 2 or other real estate investment groups, like what I would recommend you do is when you save their contact, like be very organized with how you save their contacts, right? Like if they're a lender, create a lender list and save them within that specific lender list. If they're, capital raiser, like Colin, save them within the capital raiser list. And the reason why I say this is it makes it easier as you start building up your Rolodex and your contact list. You're able, if you run through a specific issue or you need an answer to a specific question or an area that happens to be an area of expertise you may not know, just go into your contact list and search those keywords, capital raiser, and that contact's going to pop up, and then you can reconnect with that individual.
Absolutely.
Right? That is like a hack that I've been doing as I've been networking with other individuals in the real estate investment space, and that's helped me stay extremely organized with my networking.
I love it. I love it. Benjamin, what do you think about the community? Who's helped you? How's that work?
I was going to remind everybody about the cheat code that Pace touched on in the past. The best way to kickstart is to know 50 people in the community, and it is so true. A lot of people just don't believe it, and that ended up just drag the process. The fact is that when you meet with people, be intentional. Learn about what they have. Learn about what they do and what they need. And later on, clarify what you have, what you can offer, what you can provide value to them. And that is when you get to connect with people in a meaningful way, and even partner up with them, right? I think so. When we connect with people, it's like a lot of people will just go on the community when they have a deal that need money, or when they have a deal that have problem. They end up just go on the community and ask, but typically that is just a reminder that you don't have enough friends, or you're not organized enough with the connection with friends.
So
right?
true. It's a great reminder. You're right.
Yeah, and I resonate with what Stephen said. it's important to take note and be intentional. Save those informations in your contact. Everybody now have iPhone. It's so easy to use other than Colin, right? Colin has an Android. No, just
Colin,
Oh man,
Colin,
no, just kidding.
not learned.
I met Colin in person. I promise everybody, he is a good guy.
Yeah. He's a good guy with Android. Yeah.
We won't hold it against you, Colin. You're safe.
Yeah. Anyway, but this year last year has been a important year to me because I actually spent a good 9 months to find my operator. Like I was able to acquire a business, but I am not the person who can run the business well. I'm a visionary, and I'm not even close to a good operator. I'm not even close to an operator. And so I actually connect with so many people and go through multiple group who actually came into my business, take a look at how things are going, and try to take things over. And toward the later half of the year, when I was chatting with Colin, and back to that time, I didn't even know that he was such a great operator. I was just having a dinner with him over what, community camp. I think we're out in Montana, and we were just sitting together, and he was actually my capital partners for the laundromat, and he was like, so tell me more about how things go in the laundromat. And I was just telling him, like what I have done, what are the good things about it, I know that. And Colin was telling me that, well, talk to me in a way that I'm not a capital partners. Talk to me in a way that I'm more like a general partners. Essentially, you want to hear about the challenge, the problems, the issues that I cannot resolve or I am trying to resolve, right? And I was like, okay, you want to do that? Let's do that. And then I start to split out all kind of issue that I have. And Colin has this magic wand. Just tell me, for this issue, all you need to do is this, and that. On my way back to Boston from Montana, I just simply make a call to the staff, executing what Colin advised me to do. And a long-term issue that I've struggled for months just went away.
That's incredible. The power of community is there's someone in our community who knows. We always joke, I got a guy. Like, somebody in this community can absolutely solve a problem and just be a good, sounding board for you. Because sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes and ears, because we have to get out of our own way sometimes. So that is it. This community is everything. I love that. I love that for you guys. So being that we're in 2025 now, which is crazy. So what does your journey look like? Like, what's next? Where, for you guys. So Stephen, like, what's next on your radar?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this year. What's next for me is I want to scale my flipping business, and I just launched hungrydispo.com, which is a disposition service, and I also, will provide EMD and transactional funding. It's for real estate professionals as well. And, I definitely want to dive into acquiring businesses, like I want to speak it into existence, but, my wife is in the dentist business, industry, and I want to possibly acquire a dentistry.
Mhm.
Right. I think that's something that, I want to focus on in the near future. But for this year, I would say, my biggest focuses are going to be, scaling, my flipping business and, for active income, and, really being a leader within the Northeast Pennsylvania market, and hosting more real estate investor meetups, connecting with more real estate professionals, and just trying to give as much value as possible. My ultimate goal is, to try and connect as many people together to do as much business as possible with each other.
I love that.
And
Love
and
it.
that's the goal.
And now the Poconos, I've not been there, but is that the place where they advertise the big champagne glasses as the jacuzzi?
Yeah,
Is that the
yeah.
place? Okay.
That used to be a television commercial. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, actually, the Pocono Mountains is about an hour and a half from New York City and about an hour and 45 minutes from Philadelphia. And because of its proximity, whenever people from New York or the tri-state area and people from Philly don't want to take, these really far expensive vacations, usually it's like, hey, listen, let's take a trip to the Poconos,
Love it.
because of our hiking, camping, snowboarding, skiing, indoor water parks. It's a major tourist area.
You should work for the chamber as like a travel expert for them. But
Yeah,
Steve,
I'm just trying to do my part and
I
and
love it.
putting on for my community, because it's funny, like before I started doing real estate investor meetups in the Poconos, it was non-existent. And a lot of people used to say, man, what's going on in the Poconos? And I mean, Justin Tumanowski could vouch. We did a meetup together in the Poconos, and we had well over 100 registrations, packed house. And
That's awesome.
now my meetups are some of the biggest in Eastern Pennsylvania
I love
in the Pocono Mountains, right?
That's
So it just shows to anybody who's watching this live that it doesn't matter where you live. If you are active within your community in your local area, start putting on for your own community. Right?
absolutely.
You'd be surprised with how much you can attract and become a sphere of influence.
It's true. I mean, our Ventura meetup, we have, a lot of people that come. We meet every week. We're consistent, 100. It's fantastic. And Steve, Bobby's asking you he threw a question up on Facebook. Do you dispo for other investors? And
yes, sir.
You do. So at the end, stay with us, Bobby, and we'll tell you how to, find everybody. So don't go away. We'll definitely do that. And Colin and Benjamin, your journey is growing. Your future is bright. Like where do you see you guys going to the next level?
So we have about 3 years to build a 50 million company called Boston Home Service. Boston Home Service is our business acquisitions company that essentially serve three purpose. Number one, we want to help elevate the homeowners, living quality by serving them differently. So we're looking at something like Uber versus taxi, right? We want to have a QR code for each homeowner that they can scan and take a picture of whatever are in their house instead of calling 10 subcontractor to hopefully get someone that can come out and deliver, right? We want to turn that into a peace of mind service. And the second group of people that we're serving is the retiring business owner. We want to help retiring business owner retire with peace of mind. We're going to take over their company creatively and also scale up the company to a level that they have not been able to scale to. The last group of people that we're serving is the less fortunate. We want to be acquiring business and ended up having a lot more opportunity to hire less fortunate people, someone like veterans or homeless people. A lot of people in the community are actually housing less fortunate, which is amazing. And we know like someone like Chino in Vegas is doing.
Love Chino for sure. Yeah. It's amazing. I love
exactly.
that.
And we want to do further by providing a job security opportunity for them to actually have a job to be able to stay in that house for a longer term, right? So that is our goal, and we foresee in the next 3 years we're going to be building this 50 million business portfolio.
I love it. Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, so my journey is aligned with Benjamin, where we are supporting each other and growing our business together and acquiring. I think we're on track to acquire six more businesses this year, and that's our goal for this year. But also expanding on my business with my other partners in terms of the lending space, where we are, lending money, but also connecting capital raising for multiple investors, right? So, and then building that business and incorporating that into Boston Home Service as well.
I love that. Are you hiring? Because, I love that. That is great. So for people out there watching, what would you say to anyone who is kind of teetering on the fence of joining the community? I mean, I always tell people this community has saved me thousands of dollars in therapy because it is way cheaper than therapy. And what you get from this community is amazing and supportive and, all the feels and everything. But what would you say to people that are on the fence joining?
Don't
Stephen,
stay on the fence.
don't
Jump
stay
in.
on the jump.
Jump in, take action, take massive action, right? I mean, before I started, I was watching a ton of videos, right? Educating myself. Maybe for like 10 months, 11 months, I was just reading books, YouTubing and everything. I mean, I jumped in with someone in the community. I wasn't even in the community at the time, and I reached out to somebody in the community through the free Facebook group. So I reached out to people in the free Facebook group, connected with them, and then build a relationship. And it didn't hurt, right? I jumped in and I
Oh, they lost you. There you go.
I learned about flipping, right? And even if you just take that step to reach out to somebody, to connect with somebody,
You
right?
just take that first little baby step, and then the rest is,
and nobody's gonna judge. Reach out, right?
That's it. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I would definitely kind of piggyback on what Colin was saying. I know one of what I see is a lot of common questions say, "Hey, I don't have the money to join, the mentorship." And for those people who may be struggling financially that don't have the finances to join a mentorship, understand that you're not alone. I come from a family that isn't financially literate. I don't come from a family of money. I know what it's like to start at the ground floor. And what I would say is be resourceful with the internet, right? As long as you have an internet connection, you have an opportunity. And so reach out to people within free real estate investment groups and see how you can assist them, and whatever they're doing, right? For example, like if like you could reverse wholesale if you're looking to get your first deal. Find a cash buyer, get their buy box, and then literally just go on Facebook into the local real estate investment groups and try to find a deal that another investor is marketing to match with that cash buyer that you just got their buy box, right? And so be resourceful. Don't let your limitations stop you from reaching any type of goal that you want to achieve in the real estate investment space. If you need guidance and help, reach out to Colin, reach out to Benjamin, reach out to myself, reach out. And if you reach out to any one of us, I promise you we'll gladly take our time to try to assist you as much as possible, and especially for me, because I know what it's like to not have a lot and try to break that generational curse and push to achieve the goals that you want to.
For sure. And it only takes, JV network, one deal, and then use the proceeds from that deal to now invest into this community.
I mean,
Exactly.
if you just look at just us three men here who are in the Northeast, right? We're in the sub 2 New England group, and there's a free free Zoom that we host weekly for the public to join in. So you can bring your deals there, or if you don't know anything about deals there, you can jump in that weekly Zoom and learn something and ask questions and build relations. And that's where Benjamin actually jumped in originally and found his capital partners when he first joined. So you don't actually need to join. If you, let's say, for example, if you're struggling financially, you can just jump into the Zoom. Benjamin has a Q&A tomorrow for free.
Thursday. Yep.
Thursday, sorry, Wednesday, but Thursday, Benjamin has a weekly Q&A that he does that you can jump in and learn about business buying.
I love that. That's amazing. I mean, the creative group is a great platform and stepping stone into, the Gator sub 2 or the TC group. If maybe that's somebody's, they're an integrator. They have that incredible skill set. There's the whole TC community, which is amazing. Exactly. And Benjamin, what do you think? What would you tell people?
go to meet up.
Amen, brother. You got that right.
Yeah.
You got that right. That is absolutely. So for the people, because now I'm sure people want to connect with you, what is the best place for them to reach you guys? What's your preference?
So I can be reached at my Instagram at Benjamin Huang 14. Be free to message me. I personally, reply to all the message there. I also host a weekly Q&A. I post a link here. Be free to jump on and ask me anything about business acquisition. I'm trying to host it weekly. And so be free to come in and just connect with me and ask away any questions that you have. I also have a YouTube under the same handles with IG.
I love that. Thank you. That's great. And Stephen, how about what's the best place to reach you?
You can reach me on social media. You can reach me on Instagram at Stephen Haring. You see my username right
Great.
there in my window. That's the same username across all social media channels. So you can, connect with me on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, send me a direct message. You could also visit, my company websites, hungrydispo.com and manifestinvestors.com. And any way that I can assist you on your journey, I would love to. I would be honored to. And if there's a question that I may not know the answer to, I'll reach out to somebody or try to find the person who does have the answer and try to connect you. At the end of the day, we're all here. We have a purpose in life, and at least my purpose is to just, really try to help as much people as possible and grow at the same time. I have an abundance mindset, and it sounds like Colin and Ben do as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Colin, what's your preferred method of communication?
Yeah, so folks can reach me at Instagram at Colin Yeap. You can also reach me on Facebook, DM me on Facebook, Colin Yeap. We're planning to host a weekly Q&A for connecting and for private money lending as well. So if you do have a deal that needs funding, we have a website, www.vetedinvestments.com. You can reach us at that website, submit a deal there, or if you're a lender and you want to learn how to lend, we also support that, and we help lenders go through that process and walk them through the entire process for lending.
I love that. Now, my burning question, are you guys all going to Squad Up? Do I get to see you guys in person and Squad Up this year?
We are.
Yes. Yay. Woohoo. Party. I'm ready to go. I'm coming for you guys for sure. And definitely if you reach out about Squad Up, and if anyone watching is interested in joining this absolutely amazing community that you can't even describe, words don't do it justice. I know Alex can help you find out how to join.
Yeah, I just dropped that link in the chat. So if you want to head over into the chat to purchase your Squad Up ticket to get around the right people, definitely go ahead and check that website out. I really feel like it was a reoccurring theme, like knowing the right people to get those deals done. It's not about the how, it's about the who, like who you're surrounding yourself with. Stephen, that was such a dime. Like, I loved that. That was great. So, getting to know at least 50 people in the community, even in the free Facebook groups, like there are plenty of valuable resources there as well. But there was one person that asked a question about.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah. I think was it Bobby asking about
how to find if Stephen would dispo for people that were, for other investors, and the answer was absolutely. So definitely,
Of course.
Yep, his info's in the chat. You guys reach out to him, and Stephen will definitely can help this gentleman out for sure.
And if you don't have a deal under contract, still reach out to me if you need help, underwriting a deal, trying to figure out the best structure for the deal and the best exit strategy. You could reach out to me for that as well.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, y'all.
That's
I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. But Bobby, he was asking about, he wants to attract people to do deals with, but he was kind of like, I don't really want to have to deal with people that may have not underwritten a deal before. So that is kind of tricky because you really definitely have to continue to make those connections. In getting yourself around the people, like if you're a part of the sub 2 community, obviously you're going to be around people that probably have that type of experience. Whereas if you're just going in the free group, trying to connect with people that are in a free group, it's the difference between going to Costco and going to Walmart, that type of thing. When you're in a membership of some sort, you're going to get around those high level people. So Bobby, if you are not already in the community, it sounds like you might just need to get in contact with some leaders.
Absolutely.
Like we have here today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. You guys were a pleasure. This was fun. I love learning. And, there's nothing better than celebrating successes from other members of the community. It's a great way to start the year. Every day we applaud success in the community. So thank you guys for being an inspiration to people out there. So if you're out there and you haven't join us.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Let's go sub 2. Appreciate you, Pace.
Yes.
Absolutely. And if you're here watching today and you want to inspire people like Colin and Stephen and Benjamin and Kathy have all gotten to do today, feel free to email Taya at pacemorby.com for your chance to kind of get to be on the stage.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Well, thank you guys again. Happy New Year as well. And
Happy New Year.
It's going to be a great year for all of us, for sure.
Happy New Year.
For sure. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.